By special request, here's an overview of my effects that I use to create the tone poems. Starting off with a Boss FV50 volume pedal, quite useful. Sonic Research Turbo Tuner ST300. You can set it to calibrate for different tunings. I just use it for standard tunings, but it's very, very accurate and a very helpful little piece to have. The Fender level set buffer helps me drive signal through all of the very many pedals that I use, and you're also able to add some highs if you want. It's a very nice little piece of kit. The Origin Effects Kali 76 stacked edition of compressor, so you can run one compressor into another. It's very helpful. Sometimes I use this TC Sustain and Parametric EQ. Very useful, very nice. Likewise, Electro-Harmonix Platform stereo compressor. It's the only one I could find that does stereo ins and outs. It also has a swell function. Here's the JHS AT Plus Boost. Very nice overdrive, kind of a Marshall-y pedal, Marshall in a box. The CMC Effects Buzz Around that I custom ordered from his website on Reverb. It's a buzz around fuzz. It's unlike any other fuzz, and I love this thing. Big Muff Ram's Head. It's on all the Pink Floyd records and a lot of classic recordings. It's a beautiful, smooth, very smooth fuzz. Warm Audio Jet Phaser. If you're looking for the Ernie Isley, Who's That Lady kind of tone, this will get you very, very close. It's the best I could find. Noble's ODR1. Very natural kind of breakup and overdrive. Very useful pedal. Super Overdrive SD1 Waza. I studied with Bill Connors for a while, and he recommended the Turbo Overdrive. This is very similar, and it's a very smooth sound that I'm very accustomed to. The ISP Decimator 2 noise reduction. I placed this after all the dirt because we're going to need it if we're generating some hum. I can't have that on the recordings. It drives me crazy. MXR 10-band EQ. I just used this in front of the Boss synth pedal that's coming up, and just to roll off a lot of low end and try to accentuate the things that this pedal wants to hear. This is the Boss SW200. It recreates the GR300 kind of synth lead sound that I loved so many years ago, and so it serves a nice purpose. This is the pedal that everybody asks about, the Electro-Harmonix Attack Decay. I use it on a lot of the Baroque recordings to remove the attack from beginnings of notes and just to smooth things out and make it feel like I'm not playing guitar. The Electro-Harmonix Pitchfork can go an octave below or an octave above, and you can either have it mixed with dry or wet. I usually use this in the parallel mixer that we're going to talk about pretty soon. The Digitech Drop Pedal. So you can go 7 semitones below standard pitch, and it's a very nice signal. You can't tell that it's synthetic very much. I just usually use it to go down 4 semitones or 5 for a baritone kind of sound. The B9 organ machine, I used it on some of the Baroque improv things along with the Attack Decay pedal, and it's really fun. I like particularly number 7, the cathedral sound. It's why I bought the pedal. It's a very nice cathedral organ. Another old friend, the Digitech Freakout. This I use in the parallel mixer that I'll be talking about in a second, and this just provides endless sustain, and you can set the harmonic feedback for many different options. It's a really beautiful pedal. This is the Electro-Harmonix Tri-Parallel Mixer. So you have 3 loops that you can run effects in parallel, which means, say, if you have 2 different kinds of delays, each of them can have their own send and return, and they won't interfere with each other. Or if you want to stack overdrives in parallel, it's a super handy thing. The Keeley phaser that my good friend the Frage sent, Much appreciated. This does a very beautiful slow and fast ramping, which most phasers don't do. This is the Zelza by Strymon, another phaser, where you can have two different phasers on at once. It does beautiful stereo out, and I like this pedal quite a bit. Strymon Mobius Multi-Effects, I mainly bought it for the formant setting, which imitates vocal vowel sounds. It does a lot of other things, but I mainly use it for that vocal sound. You can program it. It's very tweakable once you get the hang of the parameters and editing, and it's a beautiful multi-effects unit. The Pickle Vibe, another very beautiful pedal that my good friend the Phrase sent me. It does a univibe kind of sound, very chewy, fat, a lot of throb, a really beautiful sounding pedal. The Dimension C Waza, this is a unique sounding chorus. It doesn't have very high headroom. You can't run anything hot into it, but the sound that it does make is quite beautiful and useful. The Strymon Deco, it simulates a tape machine. You can add saturation, a little bit of wobble, and really widen the stereo image with this thing. I tend to use it a lot. Another beautiful kind of pedal that does the same thing is the Keeley 30 millisecond double tracker. So you can have a beautiful stereo image and have slight delays of up to 30 milliseconds. So it's almost like automatic double track. The Catlin Bred Add an Echo, this is similar to those old oil can delays that Ry Cooder used to use. It's a very particular warbly sound, and I usually have this in one channel of my parallel mixer. The Keeley Halo, a wonderful delay with a lot of options for presets and tweakability. It has stereo outs and stereo ins, which I really appreciate, as I'm often running stereo, and this thing is often on in my signal. Strymon Volante, another beautiful kind of delay pedal. I keep it on the drum type, which is a Benson Echo Rec kind of vintage delay. Very unique signature sound. Love it. Strymon Night Sky, very unusual reverb that allows you to add octaves below or above, shimmer effects, and just endless experimentation with this one. The Cloudburst, which I bought it for the mezzo piano and forte settings, which adds almost a string-like orchestra sound behind whatever you play. Beautiful reverb. The Pod, Line 6 Pod 2.0, I've been using this as my amp in a box on recent recordings, and I really love how easy and flexible it is. Surprisingly great technology for being over 20 years old. I also use the UA Ruby. It's a amp modeler of a 63 Top Boost Vox AC30, which is a favorite sound of mine. It's a beautiful pedal, works very nicely. Similarly, the Dream 65, which is a deluxe kind of amp in a box from UA. Lovely pedal. I've used it quite a bit. Can't take a lot of it doesn't have a lot of headroom, I find, but it's still great. A most often used effect, the Heat Ebo. You'll hear it on a lot of the tone poems and things that I do. It's a great way to establish lead lines and just get a singing choir of guitars. On all my recordings, I'm running into the UA Apollo Twin. I also have one of the satellite expanders, so I don't use up all my DSP at once. I've had this for maybe 10 years or so. Love it. It's still working great. I use it on everything I record, unless it's just sitting in front of a mic with an amp. And the amp I use is the Boss Katana MK 250-watt version. Has a lot of built-in effects. I use the reverb on it. You've heard it on all of the recordings where I'm giving lessons on the channel. I hope you've enjoyed this and that it will serve you well to know some of these things. I sure hope so, and I wish you a very good day.